Hello, today I will be reading There Will Come Soft Rains by Bradbury. Now, for those of you who don't know, this was originally a poem by Sarah Theeside, I cannot remember her name, which was a lovely poem about the horrors of war. It was written around the time of the War to End All Wars, World War I. And I heard the poem through Fallout 3. There's a encounter with a Mr. Handy, which heavily references this short story by Ray Bradbury. And I thought I would read it to you. I want to warn you, this is not cheery, this is not happy, but I think it's lovely, and maybe you will too. Sorry for any background noise, this is my first time really trying this. In the living room, the voice clock sang, tick-tock, 7 o'clock. Time to get up, 7 o'clock. As if it were afraid that nobody would. The morning house lay empty. The clock ticked on, repeating and repeating its sounds into the emptiness. 7, 9, breakfast time, 7, 9. In the kitchen, the breakfast stove gave a hissing sigh and ejected from its warm interior 8 pieces of perfectly brown toast, 8 eggs sunny side up, 16 slices of bacon, 2 coffees, and 2 cool glasses of milk. Today is August 4th, 2026, said a second voice from the kitchen ceiling. In the city of Allendale, California, it repeated the date 3 times for memory's sake. Today is Mr. Featherstone's birthday. Today is the anniversary of Toledo's marriage. Insurance is payable, as are the water, gas, and light bills. Somewhere in the walls, relays clicked. Memory tapes glided under electric eyes. 8-1, tick-tock, 8-1 o'clock. Off to school, off to work, run, 8-1. But no doors slammed, no carpets took the soft tread of rubber hills. It was raining outside. The weather box on the front door sang quietly, "Rain, rain, go away, umbrellas, raincoats for today." And the rain tapped on the empty house, echoing. Outside, the garage chimed and lifted its door to reveal the waiting car. After a long wait, the door swung down again. At 8:30, the eggs were shriveled and the toast was like stone. An aluminum wedge scraped them into the sink, where hot water whirled them down a metal throat which digested and flushed them away into the distant sea. The dirty dishes were dropped in a hot washer and emerged twinkling dry. 9:15 sang the clock, time to clean. Out of warrens in the wall, tiny robot mice started. The rooms were a crawl with the small cleaning animals, all rubber and metal. They thudded against chairs, whirling their mustached runners, kneading the rug nap, sucking gently at hidden dust. Then, like mysterious invaders, they popped into their burrows. Their electric eyes faded. The house was clean. 10 o'clock. The sun came out from behind the rain. My bad. The house stood alone in a city of rubble and ashes. This was the one house left standing. At night, the ruined city gave off a radioactive glow which could be seen for miles. 10:15, the garden sprinklers whirled up in golden founts, filling the soft morning air with scatterings of brightness. The water pelted window panes, running down the charred west side, where the house had been burned, evenly free of its white paint. The entire west face of the house was black, save for 5 places. Here the silhouette and paint of a man mowing a lawn. Here, as in a photograph, a woman bent to pick flowers. Still farther over, their images burned on wood in one titanic instant. A small boy, hands flung into the air, higher up the image of a thrown ball, and opposite him a girl, hands raised to catch a ball, which never came down. The 5 spots of paint, The man, the woman, the children, the ball remained. The rest was a thin charcoal layer. The gentle sprinkler rain filled the garden with falling light. Until this day, how well the house had kept its peace, how carefully it had inquired who goes there, what's the password, and, getting no answer from lonely foxes and whining cats, it had shut up its windows and drawn shades in an old maidenly preoccupation with self-protection, which bordered on mechanical paranoia. It quivered at each sound, the house did. If a sparrow brushed a window, the shades snapped up. The birds, startled, flew off. No, not even a bird must touch the house. 12 noon, a dog whined, shivering, on the front porch. The front door recognized the dog voice and opened. The dog, once huge and fleshly, but now gone to bone and covered with sores, moved in and through the house, tracking mud. Behind it whirled angry mice, angry at having to pick up mud, angry at inconvenience. For not a leaf fragment blew under the door, but what the wall panels flipped open and the copper scrap rats flashed swiftly out. The offending dust, hair, or paper, seized in miniature steel jaws, was erased back to the burrows. There, down tubes which fed into the cellar, it was dropped into the sighing vent of an incinerator which sat like evil ball in a dark corner. The dog ran upstairs, historically yelping, to each door, at last realizing, as the house realized, that only silence was here. It sniffed the air and scratched the kitchen door. Behind the door, the stove was making pancakes which filled the house with a rich, baked odor and the scent of maple syrup. The dog frothed at the mouth, lying at the door, sniffing. Its eyes turned to fire. It ran wildly in circles, biting at its tail, spun in a frenzy, and died. It lay in the parlor for an hour. 2 o'clock, sang a voice. Delicately sensing decay at last, the remnants of mice hummed out as softly as blown gray leaves in an electrical wind. 2:15, the dog was gone. In the cellar, the incinerator glowed suddenly and a whiff of sparks leaped up the chimney. 2:35, bridge tables sprouted from patio walls. Playing cards fluttered onto pads in a shower of pips. Martinis manifested on an oaken bench with egg salad sandwiches. Music played, but the tables were silent and the cards untouched. At 4 o'clock, the tables folded like great butterflies back through the paneled walls, 4:30, the nursery walls glowed. Animals took shape: yellow giraffes, blue lions, pink antelopes, lilac panthers, cavorting in crystal substance. The walls were glass. They looked out upon color and fantasy. Hidden films clocked through well-oiled sprockets. And the walls lived. The nursery floor was woven to resemble a crisp cereal meadow. Over this ran aluminum roaches and iron crickets, and in the hot, still air butterflies of delicate red tissue wavered among the sharp ammonia of animal spores. There was a sound like a great matted yellow hive of bees within dark pillows, the lazy bumble of a purring lion, and there was the patter of okapi feet and the murmur of a fresh jungle rain, like other hoofs falling upon summer-starched grass. Now the wall dissolved into distances of parched grass, mile on mile, and warm endless sky. The animals drew away into thorn breaks and water holes. It was the children's hour. 5 o'clock, the bath filled with clear hot water. 6, 7, 8 o'clock, the dinner dishes manipulated like magic tricks, and in the study a click. In the metal stand opposite the hearth, where a fire now blazed up warmly, a cigar popped out, half an inch of soft gray ash on it, smoking, waiting. 9 o'clock, the beds warmed in their hidden circuits, for nights were cool here. 9:05, a voice spoke from the study ceiling. "Miss McLean, which poem would you like this evening?" The house was silent. The voice said at last, "Since you expressed no preference, I shall select a poem at random." Quiet music rose to back the voice. "Sarah Teasdale, as I recall, your favorite." "There will come soft rains in the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound, and frogs in the pool singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, wishing their whims on a low fence wire. And not one will know of the war, not one will care at last when it is done. Not one would mind neither bird nor tree, if mankind perish utterly. And spring herself, when she awoke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone." The fire burned on the stone hearth, and the cigar fell away into a mound of quiet ash on its tray. The empty chairs faced each other between the silent walls, and the music played. At 10 o'clock, the house began to die. The wind blew, a falling tree burrow crashed through the kitchen window, cleaning solvent, bottled, shattered over the stove. The room was ablaze in an instant. "Fire!" screamed a voice. The house lights flashed, water pumps shot from the ceilings, but the solvent spread on the linoleum, licking, eating under the kitchen door, while the voices took it up in chorus. "Fire! Fire! Fire!" The house tried to save itself. Doors sprang tightly shut, but the windows were broken by the heat, and the wind blew and sucked upon the fire. The house gave ground as the fire in 10 billion angry sparks moved with flaming ease from room to room, and then up the stairs, while scurrying water rats squeaked from the walls, pistoled their water, and ran for more, and the wall sprays let down showers of mechanical rain. But too late, somewhere, sighing, a pump shrugged to a stop. The quenching rain ceased. The reserve water supply, which had filled baths and washed dishes for many quiet days, was gone. The fire crackled up the stairs. It fed upon Picassos and Matisse, and the upper halls, like delicacies, baking off the oily flesh, tenderly crisping the canvases into black shavings. Now the fire lay in beds, stood in windows, changed the color of the drapes. And then reinforcements. From attic trapdoors, blind robot faces peered down with faucet mouths gushing green chemical. The fire backed off, as even an elephant must at the sight of a dead snake. Now there were 20 snakes whipping over the floor, killing the fire with clear, cold venom of green froth. But the fire was clever. It had sent flame outside the house, up through the attic, to the pumps there. An explosion. The attic brain which directed the pumps was shattered into bronze shrapnel on the beams. The fire rushed back into every closet and felt if the clothes hung there. The house shuddered, oak bone on bone, its bared skeleton cringing from the heat, its wire, its nerves revealed as if a surgeon had torn the skin off to let the red veins and capillaries quiver in scalded air. "Help! Help! Fire! Run! Run!" Heat snapped mirrors like the first brittle winter ice. And the voices wailed, "Fire! Fire! Run! Run!" Like a tragic nursery rhyme, a dozen voices, high, low, like children dying in a forest, alone, alone. And their voices fading as the wires popped their sheathing like hot chestnuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 voices died. In the nursery the jungle burned, blue lions roared, purple giraffes bounded off. The panthers ran in circles, changing color, and 10 million animals, running before the fire, vanished off towards a distant streaming river. 10 more voices died. In the last instant, under the fire avalanche, other choruses, oblivious, could be heard announcing the time, cutting the lawn by remote control mower, or setting an umbrella frantically out and in, the slamming and opening front door, 1,000 things happening, like a clock shop when each clock strikes the hour instantly before or after the other, a scene of manic confusion yet unity, singing, screaming, a few last cleaning mice darting bravely out to carry the horrid ashes away, and one voice with sublime disregard for the situation read poetry aloud in the fiery study, until all the film spools burned, until all the wires weathered and the circuits cracked. The fire burst the house and let it slam flat down, puffing out skirts of spark and smoke. In the kitchen, an instant before the rain of fire and timber, the stove could be seen making breakfast at a psychopathic rate. 10,000 eggs, 6 loaves of toast, 20 dozen bacon strips, which, eaten by fire, started the stove working again, hysterically hissing. The crash. The attic smashing into kitchen and parlor, the parlor into cellar, cellar into sub-cellar. Deep freeze, armchair, film tape, circuits, beds, and all like skeletons thrown in a cluttered mound deep under. Smoke and silence, a great quantity of smoke. Dawn showed faintly in the east among the ruins. One wall stood alone. Within the wall, a last voice said, over and over, again and again, even as the sun rose to shine upon the heaped rubble and steam, "Today is August 5th, 2026. Today is August 5th, 2026. Today is..." And that was There Will Come Soft Rains by Bradbury. As I warned, it's not a pleasant story. It's a very sad one, but it's lovely, and it's based off of my favorite poem, so I thought it would be fitting to read. It's not a very pleasant story, and I'm sorry, but I do hope that you have a good night or day, or I don't know, you just enjoyed this. Have a good one.